Shemai. Today we're going to have a look at nuts and seeds and berries. Autumn is starting to kick in and the days are shortening, it's getting darker in the evenings and cooler, and it's the time when everything starts to ripen and gets ready to seed and to spread. So we're going to have a quick walk along the hedge here and see what we can see and see what we can find. As we come along the hedge, the first one we find is Hawthorn or Cratagus Monogyna. And I can remember talking about this previously and talking about how those beautiful white flowers would come into these lovely red berries or haws. Fantastic food for wildlife, for birds. Again, it's a very spiky, if you can see it there, the spike against my finger. Very spiky tree, great protection for birds to nest in. But these red berries, and you'll see them as you're out walking, as a great sort of signpost that they're coming ripe and they're ready to see. It's a gorgeous day today. The sun is out. It's really warm for a sort of autumn day. Again, there's another hawthorn, but as we come through, you can start to see the berries in there of the blackberry or bramble, Rubus fructicosus. These are looking absolutely gorgeous, and we've said before they start off sort of greeny and turn to that red colour and then into these gorgeous juicy blackberries here. They're rich in vitamin C, great for birds and foxes and badgers and obviously people. As we're coming across the hedge, we also come across holly or Ilex Aquafolium. Normally these would be coming into berry, but this hedge is, there's no berries here at the moment. But when you slow down and you start to look at things, you see the most fantastic things. Look at that cobweb in there. And there's obviously spiders that have lived in there and hatched out and moved on. I think I'll be looking that one up in a book when I get back to the house. Next to another hawthorn tree, again, lots of berries, is the holly, and now we've found some berries. At the moment they are green, but as we approach Christmas, these will go bright red. It's usually quite a good sign of Christmas. We're continuing across this same hedge now, and there's, again, a huge variety of different trees and things, but peeking out across through the top there, and if I follow that down, that's Blackthorne Prunuspinosa, and I can tell because in there are those beautiful purple coloured slow berries. Now, rich in vitamin C, but we've said before, incredibly sour. You wouldn't eat one of those. It would just totally dry your mouth out. And you can tell the difference between the hawthorn and the blackthorn by the leaves. There's the hawthorn leaves there. You can see the shape of it. The blackthorn leaves, both very spiky trees, there, but with these lovely purple slow berries. Again, good food for birds and other wildlife. And as we said about the hawthorn before, and we move across here, being like a bit of a red signpost for animals. Look how much berry is on there. Hawthorn, amazing. There's an absolute abundance of these hawthorn berries this year, these haws, and it used to be said that a big year of hawthorn berries predicted a very harsh, cold winter with lots of snow, so we'll wait and see. We've now come along the hedge to this beautiful Acer Campesta, a field maple tree. Again, it has the typical look of the leaves of an Acer, and if I come across a bit, you can see the seeds. There we are, and quite recognisable, those helicopter seeds, but for field maple they're horizontal, so that's two seeds there joined in the middle, and they go right across, different to sycamore and other acers, so it's quite a good way of recognising a field maple. I've returned to this shady little spot that we came to a few weeks ago to look at the elder trees, the Sambucus nigra, and they are absolutely laden with berries. You can see the green ones there that haven't quite turned, and there's a few that are starting to turn up there, but if I pan round, and you can see this one, they're all starting to come now, these tiny little berries that the birds love, full of vitamin A and C, and there we go, and also make that lovely purple dye. And interestingly, when the birds eat them, sometimes you can see that their poo will be stained sort of purplish colour. Great one though, Alder. Again, you can recognise by the leaves. Here we've got a silver birch, again we can recognise by the leaves, and you can see up here where the seeds will be coming out of. And if you can remember me saying, you can hold thousands in a handful, and on a tree like this there would be millions, and when the time is right and they release those seeds, they will be fluttering everywhere. Beautiful tree. I'm now stood beneath this colossal old oak tree, and interestingly on the walk today I've found hardly any acorns at all. Now some years you get loads and loads of acorns, they're called mast years when something is produced in a vast quantity, and other years you get hardly any. So if you do find some acorns, what you're actually looking for is, there's two native oaks to the country. There's Quercus robur, which is, what you're looking for there is an acorn with a stalk and leaves without a stalk, or the sessile oak, Quercus petrea, and that's the opposite. So the acorn doesn't have a stalk and the leaves do have a stalk. This is an interesting one, one that we've not covered before, but a thistle on the edge of a field. Spiky and not particularly well liked, but wow, what an amount of seeds on the top of there, just waiting for a breath of wind to start spreading them around. This alder tree here is really interesting because there's the leaves, quite similar to hazel, but this one actually has more seeds on it than it has leaves. Again, similar to silver birch, there'll be thousands, if not millions of seeds that will come off this when it finally opens up and lets them loose into the wind. I'm now back at my walnut tree. Again, this one's a tricky one to find if you're out and about, but if you do, it's well worth it. You can see the unripe fruit there, and there's a few more up inside, but great if you can get these. And remember, once this green husk, it'll turn brown, then inside is the woody walnut itself, and within that is that lovely tasty sort of brain-shaped walnut. So there we go, that's just a few things that you can go out and find. There are so many fruit and nuts and berries and seeds everywhere at this time of year. You'll even see things like thistle seeds and rosebay willow herb seeds blowing through, very light fluffy ones. It's just great. So, you know, get yourself out there, go and have a look, and good luck.